In this video, we are going to see how to configure a DSL modem for establishing a VPN tunnel using a VPN router. For configuring the DSL modem, you have to connect the DSL modem's Ethernet port to the laptop's Ethernet port, laptop or desktop's Ethernet port. For accessing the DSL modem from the laptop, the DSL modem and the laptop need to be there in the same network. Normally, the DSL modems comes with a default IP address of 192.168.1.1. You can refer the device's documentation to get the default IP address. Now, we have to convert the laptop's IP address also in the same network. Let us see how to do it. Open Network and Internet settings in the computer. Select Ethernet. Go to Change Adapter options. Select the interface to which the DSL modem is connected and click Properties. Select Internet Protocol version 4, Properties, and fill in an IP address that is in the same network. Here we have filled 192.168.1.100. Click OK to save it. Close. Close all the windows and just check whether the modem is accessible or not by pinging it. Ping 192.168.1.1. Click OK. It's pinging. Reply is coming. So modem is accessible from the laptop. Now you have to open the Internet Explorer and fill in the IP address of the modem in the browser window. .192.168.1.1 window opens up asking for password and username. The username default is admin, password is admin. Refer the device's documentation to get the correct username and password. Now the configuration window has come and we will configure the modem now. Basically there are 4 configurations you need to do in the modem. First is you have to change the connection type to bridge mode. Then you have to disable the DHCP. Now you see here ISP connection mode has been set to bridge mode. The interface may be different for different makes and you will have to find out where you have to configure this, but make sure that the connection type is changed to bridge mode. Encapsulation can be taken as bridged IP LLC and DHCP has to be disabled. In LAN configuration, disable the DHCP. There are 2 more configurations that are to be done. One is you have to deactivate quality of service and you have to disable the firewall in the system. Go to advanced setup and disable the firewall. You can see that firewall is disabled here. Now quality of service has to be deactivated. The interface may be different for different modems. You have to find out all these parameters and do the settings. Let us see the ADSL status. Auto sync up. No change here. These are all default settings. Firewall is disabled. Let us click the status window just to see. We can find here DHCP is disabled, IP address we have not changed. We have not done anything with the IP address or subnet mask. DHCP server is disabled. Then connection type is bridge. Connection type is bridge. And you can find the ADSL status connected. That means your telephone line is connected. This is how you configure the modem for the VPN setup. After configuring the DSL modem, the next step involved in configuring the VPN tunnel is to configure the VPN router. You have to connect the VPN router to your laptop or to a desktop PC. And you have to change the IP address of your laptop or desktop PC to the same IP address network as that of the VPN router. The Cisco RB042 VPN router comes with the default IP address of 192.168.1.1. If not, you can refer the device's documentation to get the default IP address. Now change the laptop's IP address to the same network as that of the router. In this demo, the router's IP address is changed and it carries an IP address of 192.56.57.10. So I am going to change the laptop's IP address to one IP in the same network. As we have seen earlier, open network and internet settings, select Ethernet, go to change adapter options, select the interface to which the router is connected, go to properties, IP version 4, properties, and fill in an IP address that is in the same network as that of the router. Here we have filled in 192.56.57.100 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Save it. Close the window to save it. And ping the router and see whether the router is accessible from the laptop or not. Ping 192.56.57.10. Yeah, it is pinging. Now open Internet Explorer and fill in the IP address of the router in the browser window. One 192.56.57.10. A security warning pops up. Continue browsing by clicking more information and go to the web page. The page opens up asking for the username and password. The default username and password are admin and admin. You can refer the device's documentation to find out the default username and password to access the router. Login. Password is changed. Okay, the configuration window opens up. System summary page is shown here. You click setup for changing the configuration. Here hostname and domain name are non-mandatory in this case. What you have to take care is device's IP address. The device has to be assigned an IP address that is in the WAN IP range of your IP AMSs. Select an IP from the WAN IP range and fill in the device address field and use the correct subnet mask that is applicable to your station. The WAN IP range will be given by the network address and the subnet mask. So select an IP from the WAN IP range and fill in the correct subnet mask. Now this device is having two WAN interfaces, WAN 1 and WAN 2. We have to configure WAN 1 for your internet access. So select WAN 1, go to the configuration menu, and this WAN 1 configuration you will have to fill up with the information that is provided by the internet service provider. WAN connection type you have to select as PPPoE, point-to-point protocol over Ethernet, and fill in the username and password as provided to you by the internet service provider. Normally we fill this username and password in the internet modem when you are using it for internet purposes. But here the modem is configured in the bridge mode and you are filling up the connection details, the username and password for connecting to the service provider in this interface, WAN interface 1 configuration. Fill in the correct username and password. If you make a mistake here, internet connection will not be through and you will not get the tunnel. So fill in the correct username and password as provided by the internet service provider. Now connection on demand, maximum idle time 5 minutes. You can select that option and save it. So WAN interface connection is over. The next step is configuring the VPN channel. Go to the VPN menu. Here two tunnels are configured. If no tunnel is there, then you have to click the button add. In order to add new tunnel also, you have to click the button add. Now we will see the tunnel 1's configuration here. This tunnel 1, you see the number of the tunnel comes up automatically. You have to select a suitable name. Select a name in such a way that you can identify the tunnel by seeing the name. For example, here the name selected is Chennai Mumbai, which shows that this tunnel is between Chennai and Mumbai. So select a name by which you can identify the tunnel. Now interface selected should be WAN 1 because WAN 1 is the interface which we have configured for accessing the internet. Select WAN 1 and enable it. The next configuration is the local group setup. Local group setup means this is the IP configuration of the network components at local side which are participating in the tunnel. So first field is the local security gateway type. Here you have to select IP only because you are going to use a connection with the static IP. If you are using a DHCP, in the drop down menu there will be option for selecting that. But here we are using a static IP connection. So select the option IP only here. The next field is IP address you need not fill up. Once the tunnel is through, it will pick up automatically in the WAN configuration. Now local security group type, that is subnet. You have to select subnet here because you want the entire subnet to participate in the tunnel communication. If you want only one device to participate in the tunnel or access the tunnel, then you can select here IP address. If you are selecting IP address, you have to fill in the IP address in the IP address field, and that only one IP will be allowed to communicate in the tunnel. Here you are using subnet because you want other components in the subnet also to communicate through the tunnel. So you are selecting subnet as the local security group type. IP address field, you are filling up the network address of the subnet, and the proper subnet mask you have to fill in. IP address field, we are filling the network address and subnet mask. The next configuration is the remote group type. Here also the remote security gateway type is IP only, because the other end also it is a static IP connection. So select IP only, and you have to select IP address and fill in the static IP address of the other end. This IP address has to be collected from your counterpart. Static IP will be provided by the service provider when they are allotting the connection to you. You collect the static IP of the other end and fill in this field. Similarly, your static IP has to be provided to the remote end so that they can do the configuration. So fill in the static IP here. Then remote security group type is again subnet, because you want more than one device, the entire subnet, to participate in the connection or to access the tunnel. If you want only one device to get connected at the remote end, you can select the option here as IP address and fill in the IP address of that only one device. Here we are choosing subnet and filling up the network address in the field of IP address with proper subnet mask. The next communication group, configuration group, that is the IPsec group, IPsec setup. This is the very important configuration parameter that is key for your establishment of the channel. The first item in the IPsec setup is the keying mode. Here you have to select the keying mode that is preferred by your connection. Here we are choosing IKE with pre-shared key. IKE means Internet Key Exchange with pre-shared key. That means you are setting up a pre-shared key. You are mentioning a pre-shared key, and which will be used to authenticate the remote end device. We will be setting the pre-shared key later on. So choose the option IKE with pre-shared key here. Now in the next group, DH group, you have to enable the key sharing mechanism. DH is the key sharing protocol that allows both ends of the VPN channel to share the encrypted key. Here in the group 1 we are selecting 768-bit, which means that (768-bit) if you are selecting, it means that you can have a faster exchange of the key. There are other options also, 1024-bit, which is a little slower but more secure. In group 1 option we are selecting 768-bit. Next is the encryption mode. Here also in the drop down menu you will get different options: DES, then 3DES, then AES 128, AES 192, etc. What you are going to select here is 3DES. DES means data encryption standard. Only DES is selected means it will use a 56-bit packet sharing the key. If you are selecting 3DES, then your key will be shared in 3 packets of 64-bit each. So we are choosing 3 in this option. Next step is the authentication mode. Here we are selecting MD5. Here also you will, in the drop down menu, you will get lot of options like SHA1 and all. We are selecting MD5 here. What is MD5? MD5 is an algorithm designed for authentication process. What it will do is it will generate a hash, and the hash will be exchanged for checking the integrity of the shared information. Next field is the SA lifetime. SA lifetime means the time period for which the authentication will be valid. This much time, without any further authentication, the tunnel will continue to exchange data. By the default value is 28,800 seconds, and we are not going to change that. In the group 2 DH group, phase 2 DH group, we are going to select group 2 1024-bit. Then encryption 3 again, and authentication is MD5, and SA lifetime is 3600 seconds. Now next field is the pre-shared key. Pre-shared key, what you have to do is you have to design a pre-shared key, and this key has to be shared at the remote end, and they will have to also fill in the same information in the pre-shared key field. If pre-shared keys are not matching at both the ends, tunnel connection will not be established. For that matter, IPsec setup should be the same at both ends. All the fields should be same at both the ends for the tunnel connection to get established. Now you have to save the settings. If you need to configure a second tunnel, you have to click the add option. Then another window will pop up with a new tunnel number. This is how a tunnel is configured in this VPN router. If you see the summary field, you can see that the 2 tunnels are shown here. This add button will enable you to add more tunnels to the router. You can see that phase 2 encryption and authentication details are all shown here. You can cross check it with the remote end, and remote gateway IP address is also seen in the summary page. In the status window here, you can find that your LAN is connected and WAN 1 is also connected, and you can find that WAN 1 we did not configure any IP, but you can find that the IP address, default gateway and DNS are picked from the service provider's end and shown here. This means your router connection is okay.